How does the admission process work after hospitalization? This is a very popular question, and one that a lot of people struggle with. A lot of families get caught off guard. Their loved one has just been in the hospital for 3-4 nights. They haven't been to work. They haven't been home taking care of their own kids. You've been told by the case manager, your loved one needs to go to short-term rehab. What's the next step? When your loved one is in the hospital, that does not necessarily mean just because they're 82 years old that they're gonna end up in a nursing home for long-term care. 82, 85, 90, they're very strong, they're very resilient, and they wanna be at home. And they're going to do what they can to do that. So the first step when a loved one is in the hospital is to identify places, hopefully close to your home, but I think location is not the #1 priority for you here. What you really should do is identify places with a good record online, right? Use your phone while you're in the hospital and start searching rehabilitation centers. At that point, you're going to find a number of places: assisted living, independent living, acute rehab, and what are all those and how do you determine which ones are the right place for your loved one? Most of the time you should work with your case manager at the hospital to figure out what type of level your loved one's going to be at and what type of care can they be provided with the insurance that they have. The case manager at the hospital is going to help you. #1 thing you want to identify is the 3 places that you would like your loved one to be. I suggest to my family and my loved ones to make some phone calls. Try to have a conversation with the administrator of the building or the admissions coordinator. Talk to them about your loved one and what's going on so that they have an understanding of that individual person prior to them getting paperwork from the hospital. Once you make those phone calls, you can schedule a tour or you can just walk into a place. If you walk into a building, typically you're going to see activities going on, long-term care residents living in their home, and it's going to look like and feel like a nursing home. But they do provide short-term rehab. That short-term rehab will work on strengthening and conditioning residents who do not need to be in a nursing home long-term, but just need a little bit more help after the hospital to get back to where they want to be. Tour that nursing home, walk around, look at the residents, look at the staff. If you have happy staff and you have happy residents, you're going to have a good place to be. I think that's the #1 thing that you can take from a tour of a center. The next steps in trying to determine where your loved one is going to be after the hospital is a very difficult experience. You have insurance viability, admission criteria based on different centers and the type of residents that they can take care of. So you have to work with the hospital to try to find those options that are best for your loved one. At Catholic Charities, we take numerous different patients that have different types of health issues going on. You tour that center, you have your choices. I would suggest giving 3 options to that case manager. That case manager will then refer your loved one out to those buildings, and that will be just paperwork. So that's when that phone call is very important, right? They know your name already. They can expect that, hey, that person already gave me a call and they kind of let me know what was going on with that person. And it gives them a little bit more understanding of the type of resident that they're going to be taking in and what their goals are. The rehabilitation center that you choose will eventually get back to this case manager with their decision, whether or not they have a bed or not. And again, that all goes with, are they contracted with that insurance and can they receive authorization for that care? That's when that financial piece comes into play. Once you give the case manager your 3 options, they're going to find the available beds in the area. They're going to present you with the options that they have, and that's when you have to make a decision on where your loved one is going to go. Location in proximity to where you live is not the most important. I think finding those buildings that you really know are going to provide good care and that you have a good feeling about if you did end up going for a tour of those centers. A lot of people do not have the ability to do all this. A lot of people are a one person supporting their loved one. How are they supposed to leave the hospital, go do tours, do all these things? So a lot of times you're depending on that case manager to give you sound advice on which buildings to go to. You can utilize Google and Medicare.gov to try to find as much information as you can about these buildings. And do as much research as you can. Just a simple phone call and having a conversation with the admissions director, knowing their name and knowing that someone there is going to be there that you know that is going to be taking care of your loved one. Those are all very important things when you are looking for a place for your loved one.